We got to talk about this year's US Open at Pinehurst, and specifically how Bryson DeChambeau became the world's most entertaining golfer. I've heard everyone talking about how he started a YouTube channel, and now everyone gets to see his personality. But the real answer is much more simple. But first, let's set the scene. At 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, Rory McIlroy was on the verge of history. The world number 2 had rallied from a 3-shot deficit entering the final round of the US Open, birdieing 5 of his first 13 holes to take a 2-shot lead on the back 9. Everyone was on the edge of their seats. Rory McIlroy hasn't won a major in 10 years, with 3 runner-up finishes over those 3,598 days. And it looked like this might be his best chance at winning his long-desired 5th major championship.
In his bid to pick up that elusive 5th major.
But golf is sort of a cruel game, and less than 2 hours later, everything had changed. Rory misses a 30-inch putt and a 45-inch putt on 2 of the final 3 holes, leaving the door open for Bryson DeChambeau to win with a par on 18. DeChambeau then followed up with an improbable 55-yard bunker shot on the tournament's final hole, miraculously landing the ball within 4 feet to win his 2nd US Open. It was the tale of 2 shots. Rory McIlroy was 496 for 496 on putts inside 3 feet this season, yet he missed 2 when it mattered most. DeChambeau's 55-yard bunker shot on 18 had just a 1.7% chance of landing inside 4 feet, yet he hit it to 3 feet, 11 inches for par. Bryson said after the round, "For Rory to miss that putt on 18, I would never wish that on anyone. I think that fire in him is only going to continue to grow. He's going to win more major championships." Needless to say, Rory wasn't happy. He bypassed the media room, personally driving his courtesy Lexus SUV straight to the airport. His $30 million private jet was in the air just 45 minutes after the tournament ended, and McIlroy was already landed back in West Palm Beach while Bryson was still celebrating at the course with fans. Now, the US Open was a super interesting week. Obviously, the tournament was great, and I'm sure the ratings are going to be fantastic. But to me, the most interesting part of the week was that Bryson was sort of the crowd favorite over Rory, despite Bryson leaving the PGA Tour in 2022 for a $125 million deal with LIV Golf. Now, many of you probably heard the crowd chanting, USA, USA, after Rory misses par on the 18th green.
USA, USA, USA.
The moral concerns around accepting money from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund have already been discussed ad nauseum, and it isn't up to me to tell you what is right or wrong. The major difference, though, is that while DeChambeau took the money and ran, McIlroy has spent hundreds of hours on phone calls and meetings, taking time away from his family in an attempt to bridge the gap in professional golf. Now, you could argue that fixing professional golf benefits Rory McIlroy in the end, but he isn't being paid to do that. It also isn't helping him win any majors, and a normal person might assume that Rory's loyalty to the status quo would turn a final round fight against a PGA Tour defector into an aggressive, unrelenting home court advantage. But the only problem is, that's not what happened on Sunday, and it has more to do with Bryson than it does with Rory. Let me explain. So you're going to read hundreds of think pieces on this topic over the next few days. We're talking about tweets, podcasts, articles. Everyone's going to be trying to figure out how Bryson DeChambeau took $125 million from the Saudis and somehow became infinitely more popular with fans of the PGA Tour. These discussions will talk about how DeChambeau has hired a good manager and PR team. Many people will undoubtedly mention how the 30-year-old professional golfer reinvented himself through his YouTube channel, building a 2.5 million person audience on social media platforms almost entirely after leaving the PGA Tour. And the more business-minded media folks might even go deeper down the rabbit hole, mentioning the often repeated theory that Bryson's social media strategy wouldn't have even been possible on the PGA Tour due to their complex media rights policy. Phil Mickelson famously tweeted last year saying, quote, "Monopolistic control of media rights wouldn't allow for players to use YouTube and other social platforms to promote the game to the next generation, and working from within the tour wasn't an option," i.e. Bryson. However, there's only one problem with this walled garden theory. It isn't true. There is no rule within the PGA Tour player handbook that would have disallowed Bryson DeChambeau from creating a YouTube channel. In fact, DeChambeau started his YouTube channel while he was still on the PGA Tour, posting more than a dozen videos beginning in 2021 until he officially left for LIV Golf in the summer of 2022. So if the PGA Tour did in fact allow Bryson DeChambeau to post YouTube content while he was still playing for their organization, what exactly is Phil Mickelson talking about? Well, Phil often talks about how PGA Tour players don't own their media rights. And that's true, just like it's true for every other major professional sports league, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and MLS. Those media rights belong to the leagues, and it's what allows them to sign multi-billion-dollar broadcasting deals, which in turn pay the exorbitant salaries of professional athletes, or in golf's case, the prize money. The idea that PGA Tour players can't use their own footage is factually incorrect. All players are welcome to use their official footage on social media, provided they 1. Request a copy from the PGA Tour, and 2. Don't monetize the footage with advertisements. This includes live rights, highlights, and decades of archived content. And the PGA Tour actually has several employees who specifically handle these requests. So again, if PGA Tour players are allowed to 1. Start a YouTube channel, and 2. Gain access to their official footage, what exactly is the problem? Well, the third thing that I often hear is that PGA Tour limits player access, i.e. Bryson can't bring his own videographer behind the ropes at a tournament to capture footage for his YouTube channel. But that's not necessarily true either. The PGA Tour lets players request special access for their in-house content teams to film footage on tournament weekends. Now, these requests could technically be declined, of course, and maybe some of them are depending on the tournament or the level of access that the player is requesting. But they still exist, and pretending that they don't is intellectually dishonest. Instead, Occam's razor tells us that when we face competing explanations for the same phenomenon, the simplest explanation is likely correct. So instead of yelling into the clouds that the PGA Tour is handling its media rights all wrong, maybe it's time that golf fans and media alike just accept the fact that Bryson has changed. Bryson DeChambeau was one of the most polarizing figures on the PGA Tour when he left for LIV Golf in 2022. Some people didn't like the fact that DeChambeau frequently talked about a 6,000 calorie per day diet, adding 50 pounds of weight, and calling Augusta National Golf Club a par 67 for him because of his increased distance. Others seemingly just thought DeChambeau was immature, claiming ample evidence existed given his admission of intentionally hitting into crowds to take advantage of trampled down grass, or the time that he made groundskeepers wait hours to mow the range at John Deere Classic while also telling them their green speed recording was off by just 0.2. Those stories, while true, feel like a completely different person than the Bryson we see today. DeChambeau appears to be in a different stage of his life. Maybe some of that has to do with his dad's passing in 2022, which he openly talks about as a critical moment. But regardless of the determining factor, DeChambeau has emerged years later as a more fun, relaxed, mature player than he ever was on the PGA Tour. Bryson had an interesting quote at his opening press conference at Pinehurst on Wednesday. He said, quote, "They say every 5 years somebody's life changes, and it couldn't be more true. I'm in a completely different person than I was back at Winged Foot. There are remnants. I've still got a lot of the same cells, but I'm definitely different in the brain, for sure." Now this right here is where YouTube really comes in. Rather than posting highlights and interviews from LIV Golf tournaments, Bryson uses his channel to showcase fun experiences, like the time he attempted to break par with a set of $100 starter clubs from Walmart, or challenging other YouTubers to a match with 100-year-old Hickory golf clubs. Not only is this content entertaining for fans, but Bryson is legitimately good at it too. His YouTube channel currently has 715,000 subscribers, up 100,000 subscribers in the last month alone, and he should pass the PGA Tour's YouTube subscriber count at 1.4 million subscribers in the next 6 to 8 months himself. YouTube's algorithm puts DeChambeau's name in front of people worldwide, many of whom didn't watch golf before and would have never known his name without it. But the benefits of YouTube go way beyond that too. YouTube allows Bryson to eliminate the media middleman and go directly to the consumer. His videos attract a younger generation of fans, which is increasingly important as the average age of a PGA Tour fan recently rose from 59 to 64. And most importantly, the audience is able to see who Bryson is, connecting with his personality first and his skill in the course second. You could literally feel this dynamic at Pinehurst. Bryson was giving high fives every hole and fully embraced the entertainer role. There were hat tips and hand waves after virtually every shot. DeChambeau told fans off the 13th tee not to boo him after deciding to lay up on Saturday. And the most noticeable example of showmanship might have been when Bryson said that he wanted every single fan to touch the trophy during his speech on the 18th green, only to actually run through the crowd and let every single fan touch the trophy. Many people will say this shift in personality is fake, and some media members appear to have a predetermined opinion of who DeChambeau is based on past events. But it's impossible to ignore the results. DeChambeau has contended at every major so far this season, leading the Masters for its first 2 days, losing the PGA Championship by just 1 stroke, and now winning his second US Open in 4 years. DeChambeau is comfortably the world's second best golfer right now, only after Scottie Scheffler. And when you combine that rare form with an entertainment factor that the sport hasn't seen in decades, it's no secret why many fans have changed their mind on Bryson DeChambeau. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel. I make weekly videos breaking down the business and money behind sports.